So tons of people have been talking about overconsumption lately, and the book community is definitely not immune. Lots of people have been criticized for having hundreds to even over 1,000 books on their physical TBR. I'm not really concerned of the environmental impacts of people buying books. Honestly, this is really a non-issue and doesn't even come close to making any lists of things that are harmful to the environment or on a social level, partially because the composition of books is a lot easier to recycle because it's uniform. I talk about all of that in another video I'll link above. And honestly, these people who have too many unread books don't really trigger me or make me mad. Oftentimes, I just feel a little bit bad for a lot of the situations they put themselves in, because I've noticed over and over and over again, people who have hundreds to over 1,000 books on their physical TBR oftentimes feel overwhelmed, and some of the joy of reading is lost for them.
Now behind me are 317 books. And you know what? I've had enough.
I have no words. I had all my books next to my bed, but it got to the point where I had 7 piles of books.
The main question I got was, why are you unhauling books that you haven't read yet? I did not want to read them.
Oftentimes those projects and videos that are like TBR takedown, where someone starts with hundreds of books and are trying to get to zero, starts with the creator really trying at first and having fun for a couple videos, and then after a couple videos they're just completely overwhelmed, overstimulated, and they just want to go back to the bookstore and pick another book out. And like I said, I don't think you're harming anyone if you're buying books, other than maybe yourself if you are giving yourself too many options of what to pick up from your bookshelf. So I'm not going to get into how you're harming others, but I am going to get into human psychology and why it might not be good for you to have that many unread books available to you at all times. It's definitely not about performing minimalism for me or moral superiority saying, oh, I don't buy as many books as you. It's about individually being happier with the book collection you have by being pickier with what you choose. I want you to take a look at this shelf of jam, and I want you to choose one. I'll get a little bit closer so that you can actually look at some of the options there. There's a lot of really good looking options. How does that make you feel? I feel personally a little bit overwhelmed. Now choose a jam you would most like to try. I'm a little partial to strawberry myself, but I change my mind every day with these little things, and it's true, as humans we really do enjoy choice. We really like to feel like we're curating our lives and deciding what to engage with, and having a little bit of choice every day makes you really happy as a human, whether it be what you eat for lunch or what book you pick up to read. If I told you that the one you had to take was the grape jelly, how would you feel? Probably not all that good. But if I give you 50 options of jellies, you also feel a little bit overwhelmed. So the happiness of human choice oftentimes is somewhere in between. Because too many choices triggers decision fatigue and makes it hard for us to make decisions at all. It paralyzes us. I want to talk to you about Trader Joe's. If you don't know what Trader Joe's is, maybe because you're not American or you're not an American in an area that has one, Trader Joe's is a really popular grocery store. And the following is a little bit cultish. I've always found it kind of strange how into Trader Joe's a lot of people are. It has this little intimate, cozy feel in a way, but also times it gets really crowded and there's tons of people around. They have a really good frozen section. They are known for having good snacks. I like going to Trader Joe's. It's good, but when people have the energy of missionaries knocking on your door when they're talking about their grocery store, you know that grocery store is kind of onto something. This definitely has it. I have heard people before who have gone to Trader Joe's when they were out of town because they were so happy to have the opportunity to buy a couple bags of groceries to take back home. And these same people definitely don't have those feelings about most other grocery stores. I swear this is going to all make sense in a minute. As a side note, in addition to being into fiction so much, I'm also really into economics. And one thing I've learned about Trader Joe's is they have the highest revenue per square foot of any grocery store in the United States. And Trader Joe's is not known for being a major grocery store. They're big, yes, there's a lot of them, but it's not like some of the bigger ones like Albertsons or Vons or Walmart. It's a kind of an underdog to be able to win on that statistic. So per square foot annually, Trader Joe's makes $2,000 a year. As a comparison, Whole Foods, which is a lot more expensive than Trader Joe's, makes $1,200 per square foot a year, and Walmart makes $600 per square foot a year. And of course, those grocery stores make more than Trader Joe's, at least I think they do, but it's per square foot that we're talking about. How much money are you making for what you have in your store? And Trader Joe's goes off this human psychology bit. They know that when you have too much choice for something, you get overwhelmed. So when you go down the aisles of Trader Joe's, there's only a couple options for everything you could possibly want. If you're looking at spices, there's only so many. If you're looking at jams, like we talked about earlier, there's only so many. There's only so many pasta sauces. There's only so many versions of each type of frozen food. And there's enough to give you choice to where you feel like you're making a decision. But while you're shopping there, a lot of people describe it as something that's almost a little bit more calm than other grocery stores, despite the fact that everyone is like literally packed in there like sardines. And it's because you don't feel overwhelmed from these choices all the time. And because of that, Trader Joe's makes the highest revenue per square foot of any grocery store in the country. And yes, they don't carry everything. I was at a Trader Joe's the other month and they didn't have cornstarch, which was annoying to me. But they give up a little bit of that having everything in order to make it almost like a experience that people enjoy having. So I'm sure you've already anticipated the connection I'm about to make, but I'm gonna go ahead and go forward and make it anyway. If you have too many books on your physical TBR, almost by definition, you're going to be overwhelmed in terms of human psychology. The choice might feel like too much eventually, and then the easier option that feels the most soothing to you is to go into a bookstore again where books are nicely organized and designed for you to be able to make a choice that feels good, instead of going through the books on your shelf that are organized by you, not professionally and not with a marketing background. You'll buy another book and you'll feel bad, which is, like I said, something that you don't really need to feel bad for on a social level, in my opinion, but on that individual level, you'll feel bad, your wallet might suffer, and you just go home to the same problem. Not to say that you shouldn't have any unread books in your home. You definitely should. In fact, many people have argued that having some unread books in your home is beneficial. One, because it gives you a sense of adventure, and two, because it reminds you that there's more experiences out in the world that you haven't had yet, and it keeps you humble in a way, that there's more out there for you to discover and more out there for you to know. Let me tell you what works for me personally. I really love having about 30 to 40 books on my physical unread TBR. And to some people that's going to sound like a whole lot, but I read a whole lot. For some people that number should be smaller, and for some people it probably could be slightly larger if they're reading like a book a day. This is not going to be that many people that applies to, but I definitely think it could be a thing. I keep mine on this cart right here, and anything that doesn't fit on this cart, I don't get to buy, because I know that this is about the level where I feel comfortable and I feel adventure. If the books start kind of going out of this space, I get stressed, I get into that decision fatigue, and I also will go into that mode where I just want to go book shopping because the books are designed for me to already want to buy one, because of the way that the layout is and because of the amount of marketing that goes into display of books in public. And books that I put on bookshelves throughout my house are books that I have read, and they're kind of like trophies, and it makes me feel good because I have not been into sports in many years. The most athletic thing I've ever done in the past few years is probably walk or jog my dog, and I don't think I'm gonna get a trophy for that anytime soon, so I might as well display the books I've read on my bookshelves that are around. And just like Trader Joe's doesn't always have every ingredient because they don't worry about anticipating for everything, your cart or your space where you keep your TBR, your limited TBR as a reader that you might not have what you want right in that moment. But there's something to be said about supplementing from the library or using the library completely. There's definitely nothing wrong with being a pure library reader, but just because you want to read something or if you heard of something right away and you think you might want to read it in the distant future doesn't mean you have to go out and buy it right away. If you want to read it right away and it's kind of like an impulse, you can always go to the library. And if you're positive you're going to read it later, you can buy it later. Also, do some introspection and learn your reading taste for sure. I think that there's something really personally positive to learning about yourself to the point that you know what's going to resonate with you and what's not going to resonate with you. That doesn't mean you don't branch out, but when you do branch out with like a book or two, not 15 or 20. Just because it's popular or because you've seen it a lot online does not mean it's for you, and that's okay. For example, I don't usually like sports or contemporary romances, but I know a lot of people who do, so I picked up icebreaker because it was popular, and I didn't like it. And I probably could have known before picking it up that I wasn't going to like it, but I did anyway, and that's okay. Everyone's going to do that sometimes. But you shouldn't fill your shelves with books that you know you're not likely to enjoy. I really wanted to find a contemporary romance that I would like, or a romance that subsect of the population is really enjoying, and I wanted to kind of figure out what that whole genre was about and what the appeal was. And I went and I tried this one, I didn't like it. I tried this one, I didn't like it. I went a little bit more mainstream and tried an Emily Henry, and I didn't like it. And I think from reading all the back of these books, I probably would have known that. And it's not that it was a bad decision for me to branch out, but I could know what I like enough to know what's intriguing enough for me and be thoughtful about what I put in my cart based off of what I'm likely to enjoy, rather than having the shelves full of books that I'm kind of lukewarm about. You've definitely seen people on the internet who have had hundreds of books unread where they try to do like a jar or a wheel or something, and then a few books into trying this new project, they're like, I'm in a reading slump because I didn't want to read half of the books I bought in the first place. And I did find one that I actually kind of liked. The 7-Year Slip is really good for that contemporary romance section. And it's not really a full contemporary romance because there's magical realism. But I'm saying branching out can work, but be strategic about it and know what's likely to work for you, and save your money for the books that are going to be something that both excite you and are likely to work for you. I could have done a lot of that testing with the library. It's not bad if you buy books. I will always stand up for buying books. But if you're feeling overwhelmed by the choices you've personally made with buying books, that's also completely natural, and it does fall in line 100% with human psychology. So all I'm saying with this video is learn to trust yourself more than me or anyone else on the internet.